The Lakefront Music Fest is back and bigger than ever. Don't miss out on Rock Nights, Friday, July 11th, headlined by Foreigner with support from 38 Special and Loverboy. Tickets are on sale now, but going fast. Full details and to get your tickets, go to KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Second hour of 9 to noon coming at you live from 1600 Utica Avenue. Max Fuller here alongside Brett Blakemore filling in for the voice of the Vikings, P.A. Paul Allen, who's getting ready to call some Monday Night Football tonight when the Vikings host the Chicago Bears in a winter whiteout game. And in the theme of the winter whiteout, I think it was yesterday that it broke, Vanilla Ice performing at halftime. And of course, the resident Vanilla Ice expert at KFAN, he's always talking in the hallways about how Vanilla Ice is his favorite rapper, Ron Jonhson, OG Ron Jonhson. How are we feeling about Vanilla Ice? Are you gonna wear your T-shirt and hat and all your merch that you got, Ron? I mean, I know Vanilla Ice is your guy.
Yeah, I got like one shirt that I think I'll wear for that. But heck no, I don't. You know what's funny? I didn't even realize that Vanilla Ice was still a thing. Like that's neither. So funny to me. But I guess if Young Gravy can get it going, I guess Vanilla Ice is making a comeback.
And it's the winter whiteout. I mean, you kind of have to. It's either Vanilla Ice or you got to get like Eminem or something in the building. And he's a Detroit guy, so we're not going to get Eminem there.
Right. Yeah. True. Yeah. That's. I guess so. Or I mean, I guess Young Gravy couldn't work.
That's true.
Yeah. There's not a lot of white rappers, I guess.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing Vanilla Ice, baby. But looking even more forward to the Vikings Bears matchup tonight. Ron, you'll be on the ones and twos with Nordo on Vikings Fan Line following the game. So I thought I'd have you on to give you 2 cents and preview the matchup a little bit. As a former player, what are some of the challenges of playing a team twice in the span of about a month?
Familiarity. So, the tough thing for the Vikings is when you look at their offense, the Bears kind of understood the assignment. They know what they need to do. And so, again, it was kind of a death by 1,000 cuts, or it was let Justin Jefferson go off. And so they decided to let Jordan Addison go off. And I think this time they're going to, have to figure it out. The last game, honestly, doesn't help either, or it doesn't help the Bears. It helps the Vikings because it shows both can get 5 touchdowns and you can have 2 monsters. So, I think the biggest thing for the Vikings is going to be finding a third guy. Like, I think the Bears are going to try to eliminate. You can play a couple coverages to eliminate both receivers, but you're really just giving up the middle of the field. So you would have your 2 high safeties shadow the 2 receivers, and then you play 2-man underneath. That leaves T.J. Hockenson, Brandon Powell, and then you're running back out the backfield man-to-man. And I think that's going to be the thing to watch tonight is how often do they decide to play that like match cover 2 shell where they're going to match up the 2 receivers to eliminate them and then, allow T.J. Hockenson and or Brandon Powell to kind of, roam free and have to win man-to-man coverage. But the thing about the Vikings defense, to go the other way on that, is it's an anomaly. I don't understand it, but they are the worst defense in the NFL on third down when it's 7-10. They're almost converting every other first down when it's 3rd and 7-10. But then when it goes 3rd and 3 to 6, they're 4th, and they're only converting a third of those. So I don't know if it's because of the rush or coverage that Flores plays when they get into 3rd long versus when it's 3rd and 6, he's ratcheted up, he's dialing up the blitz. So I think that's going to be the key tonight is maybe just, 3rd long, maybe do something different. Cause whatever he's been doing, whether it is still blitzing on 3rd long and quarterbacks know, like I got to get rid of the ball and it's just working. Or if it's, I've been sitting back playing coverage in 3rd and long and maybe you should blitz. I don't know which one it is, but whatever it is, he's going to have to go opposite and kind of disguise it up for Caleb Williams. Cause that's the other thing too. Like as much as Flores disguises the defense, Caleb Williams has seen him recently and now he's had a couple more games to watch it on film as well, and then he's had an extra day to kind of prepare for this. So, we'll see what that looks like. But I think that's going to be the cat and mouse. We know what the Vikings offense can do is can the Bears defense stop Caleb Williams in this offense?
And last time the Vikings saw Caleb Williams, and I'm not watching the Bears week in and week out every single play, but off the top of my head, that's the last time that Caleb Williams actually looked pretty decent. He threw for something like 340 and 2 touchdowns, probably one of the better games in his young career thus far. Did you see anything from Caleb Williams or the Bears offense the first time around that concerns you the second time?
No, I mean, well, I'm looking at the last 6 games, and the last 6 games, when you look at Caleb Williams, no. Like, his passer rating is 24th. His yards per attempt is right around 6 yards, where Sam Darnold is, almost 9 yards, which is third in the NFL. So, because people always try to say, like, oh, we had dump-off quarterbacks, or we had dink and dunk quarterbacks. Sam Darnold's taking chances, whereas Caleb Williams, the chances he takes, it feels like he's trying to be somebody else. Like, when you watch his off-platform throws, when you watch his back foot throws, when you watch him scramble and try to make a deep throw down the field, it feels like he's trying to be, a little bit of Patrick Mahomes mixed with, Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. I don't know who he's mimicking, but whatever it is, Caleb Williams needs to figure out himself. I mean, honestly, it feels a little bit like Drake. Drake the rapper. We know he loves to just emulate other rappers and throw songs and rap into one song. And, he wants to take this basketball team and be a Kentucky fan, and next week he's an Alabama football fan. I feel like Caleb Williams is a little bit of the Drake of the NFL quarterbacks. Like, he's trying to adopt so many different styles, and oftentimes it gets him in trouble. And this is going to be up to the coaching staff right now to kind of say, hey, we got, a couple more games left. We're coaching for our future. Where we end up after this is going to come down to how well we can get this guy to forget everything Matt Eberflus taught him and, try to instill in him, and let's move forward. But, yeah, no, it's very concerning with some of the stuff he did. And again, the last time they played the Vikings, I think it was more of the Jordan Addison show. So Caleb Williams was okay. But when you look at the last 6 games, I will say this: he's protecting the ball. Like, he hasn't thrown an interception in 6 games. And
so weird.
I think that's the difference, too, is he's been doing a great job of, not putting the ball in the harm's way. The only thing I think of is he's not taking chances, though. Like, early on in the season, he took chances. It did hurt him. But sometimes you got to do that. And he didn't do, he hasn't really done that the last 6 games. And I don't know if it's the play calling, because when you look at their play calling as well, the Vikings and the Bears have run the same amount of plays, basically 499 or 492 plays. But the Vikings have 17 touchdowns, where the Bears have 10. You look at first down conversions, the Vikings are 28%, which is second in the NFL, and the Bears are 20. So in their 32nd, they're last. So I don't know if it's the type of play, the offensive line play. I mean, sacks, they've given up the most sacks in the last 6 games, which is 32. So that could be part of it. Caleb Williams feels a little forced. But no, nothing in the last game scared me about it. The thing I hate about Minnesota sports is everybody expected the Lions to beat the Bills. The Lions lose to the Bills, and now everybody's about to say this whole crap of, like, the Vikings have, their seasons in their own destiny or whatever. I hate that term. It's like it's always in your own hands. Just play this game. Like, let's not look forward to playing the Lions week 17. Let's just worry about right now. And I think that's going to be the key. Like, PJ Fleck always talks about this. The next game is the championship season. So this has to be the Bears' championship season. Don't worry about what's next, because this is one of those trap games where you come in, everybody's talking about the whiteout, everybody's talking about, look at my outfit, we're worried about the next celebration. And then, the Bears get a little bit of, like, oh, wow, we can win this game, and then it gets out of hand. But the Bears are on a 7-game losing streak. They haven't won a game on the road all season. So I expect it to be much of the same, but let's just hope it doesn't go that way where the Vikings, fans start to get a little bit concerned, maybe a missed field goal or 2, and then here comes that doubt creeping in.
Bears haven't won a game since October. Vikings haven't lost a game since October. And if Caleb Williams is the Drake of the NFL, let's hope that Brian Flores plays the role of the metaphorical Kendrick Lamar and it absolutely ruins his year. What do you expect B-Flow to do differently this time around to ensure that Caleb Williams doesn't have another good game?
Well, I mean, we saw a little bit of Dallas Turner because Pat Jones was out. So depending on what that looks like with the active ins and outs, I expect, Grenard and Van Ginkel to kind of, because the thing that Caleb Williams did a good job of was, again, not putting the ball in harm's way, not, giving Van Ginkel a pick 6. I expect Flores to come up with some other ideas of maybe different guys coming off the edge, maybe twist a little bit more with those outside linebackers, let them get up the middle in the A-gap. Because we haven't seen that yet on film where you put your outside linebackers more on the inside than the outside, even though they are your edge protectors and you want to, stop the run. But that's what I expect from Flores is to just get, be creative, but not waste it. Because, again, the most creative he's going to need to be is week 17 versus the Lions. And, of course, the Packers, too. The Packers are a good team. Like, I'm not going to downplay that. Seattle, the Packers just kind of ran through Seattle, so hopefully that means that would be much of the same for the Vikings when they head out to Seattle next week. But I expect him to come up with some ideas to where it shows coverage and you're playing that coverage. And that's what I hope throws Caleb Williams off. Like if he sees cover 2, in his mind, he's like, all right, it's not going to be cover 2 when I snap this. It's going to be 4 or man or something. And it's just 2. And now he's even more confused, like, oh, crap, they stayed in 2. I was preparing for 4, so I was going to go here, and he throws it somewhere else. And I think that's the chess game that we're going to see tonight. Is Brian Flores trying to figure that out. When do I show coverage and just play the coverage? Like, just trust my guys to be who they are. Let my front 5 even get after them. And I'm expecting, again, between Cam Bynum and Josh Metellus, they are hungry for the ball. So I think it's got to be something there, too, where it's a strip sack or an interception. Because, I don't know where else you can go with these celebrations.
Right.
But it's like, I don't know. I don't know if you can peek at white chicks, but I'm trying to think of like movies out there that they can recreate that is going to like top that. I don't know how you top a backflip and pad.
That might be the ultimate
but
one.
I'm pretty sure they've been working on it.
Right. I can't, I'm racking my brain to think of other dances or movie. Maybe they bust out like, I don't know, some type of medley with the stanky leg and the soldier boy and all time. I don't know how they top that. That might have been the best celebration of all time.
Yeah, I really don't know. I'm racking my brain trying to figure. I guess you could do like Stomp the Yard when Chris Brown did the slide on the elbow thing.
That would be pretty fly.
Or not Chris Brown, but what's the other Short?
Right.
The other actor did it. But we know Chris Brown had a little crump thing where he spun his hat. I don't know if you can spin your helmet. Like I don't know. I have no idea what they have next. But I know the fans are excited about that. I know they're trying to win an ESPY. And I think that's the cool thing about this team too. They're winning and they're having fun doing it because, oftentimes a lot of people get pressured when you're winning this much and you let that pressure get to you. It feels like, they're still having fun doing it and they're enjoying, coming to work. And if you can come to work and have fun, it's going to show up on the field. And that's what you're seeing. When you watch Cam Bynum and Josh Metellus play back their celebrations, it's like, man, these dudes are having fun. Like, I don't know too many people that want to stay after work or come to work early before or after practice just to hang out and work on celebrations. But, clearly there's a type of atmosphere there. There's a type of friendship there that, you can't downplay. People can say whatever they want, but there's a lot of teams. Look at Aaron Rodgers when he sits on the bench right now by himself.
Right.
Like those guys are not staying after work or coming early.
All the drama with Philly over the past week as well.
Click so they can check out.
The Eagles were just going through that as well. And obviously winning cures all. It seemed like it was all good yesterday. But the whole week it was about the Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown drama. So I totally know what you mean. But speaking of having fun at work, I'm having fun talking to you, Ron Jonhson. You got time for one more segment? Maybe talk a little bit more Vikings and some college football?
Of course. Anything for you, Max. You know that.
I appreciate you, dog. That is Ron Jonhson, co-host of Vikings Fan Line, which you will hear following the Vikings-Bears Monday night matchup tonight. We got more with Ron coming up next right here on 9 to Noon.
If you want to chime into what's happening with your favorite KFAN shows, you can make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. Just let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That is 64686. Standard text message and data rate supply.
Welcome back to 9 to Noon. Max Fuller here filling in for Paul Allen ahead of the Vikings-Bears Monday night matchup tonight downtown Minneapolis. Brett Blakemore by my side and Ron Jonhson, former Gopher great, former NFL wide receiver, and current co-host of Vikings Fan Line on the line, here to talk some more Vikings Bears as well as college football. Ron, the whole commercial break, the entire commercial break, I was thinking of a dance that they could do, and I finally thought of it. They could hit the Napoleon Dynamite dance that he hit at the talent show at the end of the movie. That might be the only one that could be on the level of the White Chick dance.
That would take some next level thought process.
Right.
And it would be a minute before people figured out what the heck they just did.
So the White Chicks one, I'm sure you were the same way. I recognized it right away. I was like, oh my God, I'd seen that movie more times than I care to admit. And I was like, oh, I can't believe that they did this. That was my favorite one they've done so far.
Oh yeah, as soon as I saw the hop over the leg, I was like, oh yeah, okay. Because at first I was like, oh, is this kid in play? And then I was like, oh yep, nope, here it comes.
Right.
And so I tweeted it right away because Reggie Wilson from Care 11 tweeted, because we were both sitting there and he tweeted, oh, they got the kid in play, and then I knew right away I'm like white chicks, and then he retweeted like, oh, I stand corrected, it was white chicks. I'm like, yeah, you gotta let the whole thing play out. Like don't have a premature celebration tweet. He prematurely tweeted, and then he realized, oh wait, nope, it's the white chick.
I want to get back to the Vikings Bears, but I know you're an elite college football mind as well. Obviously, over the weekend, Travis Hunter won the Heisman Award. How are you? I think it's kind of controversial. Some people feel like it should have been Ashton Genty, but obviously you got a generational player like Travis Hunter who plays both sides of the ball. We've never seen anything quite like it. He's like the Shohei Ohtani of college football. How are you feeling about Travis Hunter winning the Heisman? And how are you feeling about how should Ashton Genty be feeling tonight?
So here's the thing, like the amount of times they handed him the ball, he was great. You know, like if you look at his numbers compared to Reggie Bush, and that's what a lot of people are doing. But the biggest thing people forget about Reggie Bush was the punt returns,
right?
The highlight moments, the movements. Like he was by far the best athlete in college football at the time, and I think that's where it kind of goes to. Same with Charles Woodson. He had a Heisman moment, when Ohio State played Michigan, when he returned the punt, he hit him with the Heisman. Him and David Boston got into the fight. I mean, I was a high school senior at Detroit Martin Luther King getting recruited by Michigan. So I was watching that like intently, like what's about to happen. And then he gets into a fight with David Boston because I was a big David Boston fan. I visited Ohio State as well. And then, he hits the Heisman moment. Genty, it just felt like because of, one, the conference they were in, the opponents they were playing, he never really had a Heisman moment,
Right.
And everybody was trying to give him a Heisman moment, but he never had it. Travis Hunter had those moments because he was playing both sides of the ball, because he was playing receiver and DB, because he was playing every snap of game. Like, I don't think there's ever been a human being to ever play every single snap of a college football game. And that's why he got it. He was the best athlete in college football. It's not just about the stats, but if you were to, like you said, if you were to put him just at receiver and then give him all the throws, just like some of these top receivers, yeah, he probably is. If you put him just at DB and you let him go at it, he probably has more interceptions. But again, people aren't going to throw his way. So that's the other thing you have to look at too, is how often did they even throw his way? And when they did, it was an interception. So, I'm fine with it. I think he was the best athlete in college football.
No, I totally agree with it. It's a generational thing. You just like you said, the guy's playing every snap of every single game. You kind of have to give it to him at that point. I feel for Genty, but it's like you said, it's the conference that he's the primary carrier, the primary source of offense on that team. And if you consider where Colorado was just even a year ago, let alone 2 years ago, I mean, he's completely turned around that entire program. If you're drafting Hunter, though, do you want Hunter the wide receiver, or would you rather have Hunter the cornerback?
I struggle with that, but like I'm from Detroit, so we don't pocket watch. Like I'm never gonna tell a man what he should do. So if I'm a coach, I'm talking to him. Like we know he can play corner, we know he can play receiver. If you draft him, I kind of see because this is the best thing about preseason. It doesn't count,
right?
So let him try it in a preseason game. Let him go out there and play corner for a quarter or two, then let him in the second half play receiver. See what happens, and then if it works out both ways, again, this is the era of people, and I've always been taught this because I'm that way. Because I have a full-time job working at Game One. I sell uniforms and apparel with Nike. I work with Adidas and Under Armour, but I also work on the weekends with Fox and KFAN, and I cover the Vikings and Gophers in the fall. And a lot of people try to pocket watch, or they try to question, do you want to do one thing? No, I like doing both. I love sitting down with athletic directors. Like I just met with the AD at Mount Westonka High School. I just sat down with the AD at Kennedy High School. I love that, and then, I can turn around and today I can go to a Vikings game. I can cover that. And then, after the Super Bowl, we're done, and so then right. I work that. So I would never pocket watch a guy. So we've never seen a guy do it at this level. Let's see what happens. Like numerous things have happened. The light bulb was created because somebody said, I need to get indoor light. The roller was put on a suitcase because people realized, why in the heck are we not rolling our suitcases through the airport? Like somebody has to try something new. And I think Travis Hunter is about to show us, like, hey, often because in college, the athlete, when you got recruited as an athlete, I was one. I hated it. I didn't want to be recruited as an athlete. Penn State tried to recruit me as an athlete because I played safety. I was 6'3", 216 pounds in high school. So they're like, man, you could play college safety. I didn't want to do that because I felt like that was a death sentence, that you walk in, you don't have a position, you don't have a home. That's not the case anymore. Now athletes are kind of sought after to say, hey, I don't know where, but we're going to use you somewhere. And so I think the NFL might start doing that more often. Like, hey, like, let's see what we have in this guy. I mean, think about what's his name? Richard Sherman. You know, he was a college wide receiver, ended up playing corner.
Right.
You look at Trayvon Diggs. He was a college wide receiver, turned corner. Imagine if Trayvon said, hey, coach, let me get a couple snaps in the red zone at receiver, and he kept working on his receiver. We don't know. Maybe Trayvon Diggs becomes even better than we know he could have been for the Dallas Cowboys, and they wouldn't suck right now. So you just never know. Like I would say, when you think about, sorry, Cowboys fans, you call it straight for no reason. But when you think about that, I would, if I'm a coach or a GM, I'm letting him come in and show us what he can do.
So is it fair to say that you, Ron Jonhson, are the Travis Hunter of Minnesota sports media? I mean, you do it all. You just listed it all. You're basically Travis Hunter before Travis Hunter. Is that fair to say?
I guess so. I mean, I don't know too many other people doing a pregame show for the Gophers and the Vikings.
True.
Doing
Talk about it.
Game for the Gophers and the Vikings, and also working a full-time job. So I guess, yeah, I guess I could kind of be the Travis Hunter of a Minnesota job market. I guess I'll say that.
Or maybe Travis Hunter is the Ron Jonhson of college football. Maybe we should, since you're the progenitor, maybe Travis Hunter should be named after you.
Maybe the new award. If you do a whole bunch, it's the Ron Jonhson award. I do want to do a funny story quick though. Shout out to my daughter, because I tell parents this, and you never know how much your kids watch you. And I know my kids see me work a ton,
right?
And you never know if your kids are going to pick that up or if they're going to be lazy. And my daughter the other day, she's 13, but she's taking jobs at concession stands for the high school sports.
Oh, dang!
And one of the kids didn't show up for his shift. And so I'm outside to pick her up because her shift was over, and she calls. She's like, Dad, can I just stay for till they close, because the person that was supposed to come close didn't show up. And I was like, yeah, cool. And so I went home, but I was kind of proud because I'm like, you know what? Like, a lot of kids are like, nah, I want to go. I want to get home and jump on the game and play a little Call of Duty tonight. She was like, no, I'll work till 9:30, 10 o'clock if I have to, because, you know, she likes making money. So I am glad that at least she notices, my kids notice how much I work. And so, well, I don't know about my 9-year-old. My 10-year-old, she might not be that kid, but my 13-year-old definitely likes making money. So I'm kind of happy about that.
No, that's awesome, man. I mean, maybe my kiddo's 11. Maybe she needs to hang out with your kiddo, because my kiddo's a straight up bum. She needs to get a job. She's 11 years old. Get off your butt, girl. No, I'm just playing. A couple more for Ron Jonhson. Last one on college football. How you feeling about the 12-team CFP? You got any predictions? Any teams that you think should have gotten in that didn't, or who do you think is taking this whole thing home?
No, I love it. I think Alabama not getting in made for great TV and talk. It's going to fuel the off season to come up with a new plan, because, you know, Alabama's going to be going off on people. And here's the reason why, because if like Boise State or SMU gets absolutely blown out, you know, or Clemson gets blown out, that's all they're going to talk about is, you should have let us in. And so that's why I love it. The other thing that's going to be interesting to see is if Penn State beats SMU and then Penn State blows the doors off of Boise State and Travis Genty doesn't have a big game against a Big Ten team like Penn State. And then again, people are going to say, this is why he didn't win Heisman. He hadn't faced a top 5 team or whatever in college football. Now, if they happen to beat Penn State and then they go get their doors blown off by Georgia, again, you can come back and say, this is why we do it this way. And I think this is, because imagine if it was just Boise State, Oregon, Arizona State, Georgia, and Boise State. I'm not watching that.
Oh, no, that'd be terrible.
I wouldn't watch that. And so I think that's like, you'd have one game with Oregon, Arizona State, and then Georgia, Boise State.
Yuck.
Like, if there was ever a year for God to say, let me bless you guys with some good football, this was the year. The other thing that's going to happen, too, is I think they're going to look at the reseeding thing, because when you think about, if, let's say, Penn State beats Boise State or Clemson beats Texas, now Oregon has a gripe to say, why do we have to play Ohio State? Like, why don't we get Clemson and Ohio State has to go play Arizona State? You know, like, I think that's going to be in the conversation as well. Like if Indiana happens to beat Notre Dame, and then if SMU happens to beat Penn State, same thing. Or Oregon can say, why are we not playing SMU? Why are we playing Ohio State? Because I think Oregon has the toughest uphill battle because they have to play Texas, either Tennessee or Ohio State, or even Clemson. I mean, and Arizona State. I'm nothing against them. I think they're a good team. But those other three, like Texas, Tennessee, Ohio State, Oregon got the worst of the draw. Where if you look at the other side, you got Notre Dame, Indiana, SMU. Nothing against SMU, but it's just SMU, and then Penn State. Georgia, I feel like, has the easiest path to the championship when you look at both sides of this.
Yeah, looking forward to it. The whole thing kicks off on Friday as Indiana takes on Notre Dame. Last one for you, Ron. We're closing out the show asking the listeners to tell us what is the best thing they did in 2024. What's the best thing you did in 2024?
Ooh, man, let's see. The best thing I did in 2024, I've been coaching my kids. I coach my daughter's fourth grade basketball team, and then I'm coaching my daughter's high school softball team in the winter. So I'd say that, man, like spending time with my daughters. Like when I had daughters, I was extremely nervous 13 years ago because I'm like, I know how to hang out with boys. Like if I had sons, I knew exactly what to do. I had no idea what to expect. And every day is like a challenge with a teenager, especially a teenage girl.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy that they are athletes because we can bond over softball and volleyball and basketball. So coaching them has been an absolute joy. Just to be able to hang out because it creates a natural conversation. It creates car rides. We spend it like their time with their mom is like doing their makeup, getting their hair done, getting their nails done. And then their time with me is, like it's a true, like it's not forced. We're not forcing hanging out. Like it's just, we have fun hanging out. And, and then spending time on the couch, man. We've been spending a ton of time on the couch as a family with no TV, just sitting in the living room or sitting in the front room, just hanging out, like no TV, quiet, talking, just being around each other. And it's fun to see like how we've grown as a family doing that. Like we are very invested in each other. We really are invested in our kids' sports because eventually they're going to be out the house and it's just going to be us.
Right.
And so I thought about that. Like, what, this has been fun. The other thing too, man, I signed my first high school to a Nike all-school deal.
Hey.
And so, I was excited about that because we've only been working with Nike for about 2 years now at Game One. And so to sign my first all-school deal with Nike, it was kind of cool because I grew it from the ground up. I did it like nobody handed it to me. Nobody gave it to me. I earned it from the bottom.
Got it out the mud.
Planting soil, putting the seed in, watering the grass.
Talk about it.
And so now to be working with, and it's Kennedy High School in Bloomington, Minnesota, but to be working with them, doing an all-school deal with Nike, man, it's been fun. And so, any high school out there, any ADs listening, superintendent, feel free to reach out to KFAN. What's that number, Max, if they want to call KFAN?
I think they can call 800-320-5326 if anybody wants to chime in. Ron, it sounds like you're killing it as a dad. You're killing it at work, and you're going to kill it tonight on Vikings Fan Line, as you always do. Appreciate you for joining me.
Are you hosting with us? Are you in the booth with us
Of course. Tonight? You already know. I'm always on the ones and twos, brother.
Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be some OnlyFans models reaching out tonight on the late night fan line for Maxx. Pretty sure that.
Well, I sure hope so, and I will answer the phone cheerily. That can be a different phone call. You don't have to get on the air for Vikings Fan Line if you just want to holla at your boy. But you already threw me the alley-oop the last time you were on 9 to noon. You're like, Max, aren't you single? And all of a sudden my DMs people were shooting shots like it was a three-point shooting contest. So, and I am a three, so it makes sense. But I got to let you go. I'm already running late on this segment. I appreciate you joining me, Ron. You're the best, man.
Appreciate you.
That is Ron Jonhson. You can hear him and Eric Nordquist breaking down what we all believe to be a Vikings win following the Monday night matchup with the Chicago Bears. Short segment around the corner, and then we're kicking off the 11 o'clock hour with Tom Schreier of ZoneCoverage.com. We're talking Wolves, we're talking Twins, and of course, we're going heavy on the purple. All that and more coming up next on The Fan.
Greece is back at the Chanhassen Dinner Theater, opening January 31st. Experience the nostalgia of high school in the 50s with this musical based on the iconic film. Head over our contest page for your chance to win a pair of tickets, including dinner for two. KFAN.com keyword contest. Enter today.
Final segment of the 10 o'clock hour. This is Max Fuller filling in for PA on 9 to noon alongside Brett Blakemore. Don't forget, we're closing out the show with a little kind of a story toppers like bit. I want to hear from you, the lovely listener. What is the best thing that you've done all 2024? We already got a bunch of entries in here, a lot of sweet stuff, some funny stuff and otherwise. So call us, text us, shoot us a talk back, however you want to holla at us. You can holla at us. We got a shorty right here before we get to Tom Schreier of ZoneCoverage.com to kick off the 11 o'clock hour. And we do so much sports. It's such a sports-heavy time of year. I figured, why not break up the monotony and do a little mixed bag segment? We're the sports leaders, so we still got to have a little bit of sports, but how about some non-sports stuff mixed in as well? Brett Blakemore, are you interested in furthering your college education by any chance?
Can I use Education Connection?
Get your degree and set yourself
Education
free.
Connection. Does anyone remember that jingle?
That's one of the all-time jingles. Yes. Yeah, it'll never leave my brain.
Getting my degree on my own time, I believe.
So I would take that as a no. You're not, no interest.
No. What if I was a big, in college anyways, C's get degrees guy? Yeah. Because I knew I wasn't going to grad school. So I had no interest in having a good GPA.
By, however you could get by.
Get me my sheet of paper and get me out of there. And I did it.
Hey, so you did it, but would it interest you to go back to college if I told you there was a course, an entire course, spring semester, Northeastern State University in Oklahoma?
Okay.
Your favorite.
Yes.
All about Taylor Swift.
This is the least surprising thing. I have two friends who wives are obsessed with Taylor Swift, but they fully bought into where it's like they're the PR team for Taylor Swift. Like they send into the group chat like concert clips, like isn't just amazing how amazing Taylor Swift is, and her. I'm like, you don't have to do that in the group chat. Like you don't have to be her pump up team. She's got plenty of them.
Millions of PR people around there, including Northeastern State University, which is going to offer a whole spring semester course all about Taylor Swift. And I mean, I know about like 50% of the women that I know could already get an A without ever even seeing the curriculum of this course.
Yeah, who needs this course?
Right.
People like me probably would need the course to figure out something.
Because to your point, I mean, these people are like diehard. Like some of these people know more about Taylor Swift than their own grandmother. I feel like I know more about Taylor Swift just by osmosis than I know about my own grandmother, and I barely even listen to Taylor Swift. But people are obsessed. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or anything like that, but people are. It's just another level of stardom that you don't typically see. But to the point that they're offering college courses, so you're not interested at all in the Taylor Swift.
I think your grandmother needs an apology.
Sorry, Grandma. She is probably listening right now. I'm sorry, Grandma. Your middle name is. Your favorite number is. Anyways, if there was a artist or actor or famous person that you could teach a college course on, who would you choose?
Just ask Chris Hockey. I mean, my favorite band, the August Burns Red, I could do a 2-hour seminar on probably. But I don't know. I mean, diehard of any of my sports teams, I could probably do a class on or a PowerPoint presentation on in the history of. So a
Minnesota Wild course?
Oh, 100%.
Speaking of that, would you take us to school then, Brett Blakemore? Because the Minnesota Wild lost 3-2 last night to the Las Vegas Golden Knights. They're still red hot, still one of the best teams in the NHL, but a close cut loss last night to the Golden Knights.
Yeah, well, if I'm taking you to school about the Minnesota Wild, some people would argue that I should get my doctorate taken away. But that's neither here nor there. Look, I kind of hinted at it with Alexis, is I just feel like the depth scoring is going to be a problem. And I get the cap bit, and I understand that we're going to be
salary cap, or
the salary cap bit.
New youth slang and saying cap or no cap.
Yeah. Oh. No, the salary cap bit.
No cap.
No cap, that's a problem.
Thank you.
No cap. That's totally true. But they've invested a lot in the bottom six, and they've invested a lot in trying to shore up, the penalty kill on the defensive end. And I'm not really seeing, at least on the penalty kill side of things, not seeing a lot of improvement on that. And then when Kirill, if they get into the playoffs and they play Dallas or the Jets in the first round, and they have their best shutdown line against Kirill, then what? That would be my question. Because if you shut down that top line, there is no scoring on this team right now whatsoever in 85% of the games. There's no help for the top line. So that's my biggest concern. I think it reared its ugly head. Happy to see Wallstedt play. But until they start beating the top team, I think last year it was just a disaster. I think now they've transcended that into their really good team. I don't think they're transcending into they're going to make a playoff run until they start beating these playoff teams. So simple as that. So my optimism is slightly lower than it would be, but it had nothing to do with last night. Yeah, I know. Usually, I love being an optimist. I love being a homer. It's just, that's reality. They're not beating the good teams in the West right now. So until they do that, I want to see them come out and just whoop the Jets one time.
Yeah.
Like, come out and just beat the Stars. But they just don't do that. And I don't know what it is. I know what it is. I think they have more scoring power than we do. But that's neither here nor there.
Wild back in action on Wednesday night. They take on the Florida Panthers. 8:30 p.m. puck drop. Is that a national TV game? Why the late
must be
puck drop?
Yeah.
Yeah, and as always, you can hear every bit of action right here on KFAN. Same with the Monday night football game. Vikings-Bears kickoff around 7 p.m. tonight. We'll get into that and all types of nonsense with my man Tom Schreier of ZoneCoverage.com. Final hour of 9 to noon coming at you next.